Hello there, and welcome to episode 21 of the Not So Casual Gamer podcast. First episode of 2022.
Yeah.
I almost said 2021 because it was episode 21, and I almost confused myself there, but it's 2022.
You saved it.
I saved it. Lewis, how the bloody hell are you?
How is your waveform so much bigger than mine?
That was probably me talking that it's picking it up ever so slightly. We're looking at our laptops just now.
Still, well, okay, yeah, you actually do have a more powerful voice anyway.
Powerful voice.
Yeah, what is this, the first one in a month?
It's the first one in a month. We should say that we are delayed on this episode by a good 2 weeks. We both separately had the bold Rona, the bold Omicron variant. I assume yours was the Omicron variant. I was assuming mine was as well, just based on the virality and all that. No, so I had it 1 week. We obviously didn't see each other that week, and then
But we attempted to do a remote one, and
we attempted to do a remote one, and we just didn't have the technology.
I don't have the technology.
Okay,
My laptop is a
old.
piece of shit.
Okay, yes, in so many words. And then we went to record last week, and then you had COVID. So we just decided, let's just wait until we can be back in the same room, not worry about dropping laptops and microphones and all this, and we're just going to wait. And we want to do it in person anyway because it's better that way.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's the reason for the season. However, what it does mean is that we can start 2022 afresh. I'm not used to that yet, but that's why they all say, I'm just not, I keep writing the wrong date, you know.
Oh, no.
It'll be next year before I remember.
On our letters. Letters to our family.
Oh, have you got a stamp? Lick it. So yeah,
Oh dear.
we're doing our 2021 year in review, a year in video games, as it were. Talking
some fashion.
of some fashion, in so much as what can two people that don't do this full time have the time and money to play in the year to call their game of the year.
And then also have the what is my word that I used to use all the time? Oh, how have I forgotten this?
The gall? I don't know.
No, it's not that, but it's if you looked up similar words,
The wherewithal?
the wherewithal
That's the one.
to then go and try and think about it.
Eloquent.
In retrospect, you know.
Yes, of course. So effectively, we'll be talking about our favourite games of 2021 and also our maybe some disappointing games of 2021. There was a fair few. And I've got a little section in mine, I don't know if you have, that has games missed but honourable mention. That's what I've got here. So we can talk about that there.
I have not got that.
That's okay. There might be some crossover.
I think we actually said, though, we did discuss that. And I think I said at the time, most, if not all, of the ones you have for that were probably just going to be the same for me anyway.
Yes, I think that was what it was. Yeah.
So let's roll with that. If I think of any on the fly,
We can add it in. But first of all, over your quarantine and the like, was there any games that you've been playing that's not maybe germane to the conversation that we're going to be having?
pretty much. It's a very strange time actually. I've hardly played anything of note. This has been the first real proper extended time that I've basically not touched Game Pass in like a month.
Fair.
So that's been off the boil. There's been a lot. December was a crazy month, and I was barely even thinking about games. But
we hardly had a chance to really sit down and record normal episodes before because it was so busy for both of us in retail. That was kind of an excuse for a delayed episode prior. But that's what happens. We have other things. We have lives outside of this.
Yes. I think throughout the last, it's a bit of a haze for me. I can't even think really at all. But anything that I have or had played through all that time. You know, it's just the usual scrappy bits and bobs, usual things. But the only one important thing that I want to talk about is so my isolation wasn't like actually the full 10 days. It was only the 7.
Did it change? Because it hadn't changed for us. Mine had to be the 10 days.
Yeah. However, on a good few of those days, what actually was great was that I've been playing The Witness again.
Oh, right, okay.
Which,
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, which actually I always kind of I said to myself, I wanted to give it another go, come back years later, and think, oh, how could I be so stupid and missing these puzzles? No, it's still the hardest thing of all time. But it is also one of the most genius things of all time. It really is. But what made it great this time is that actually over SharePlay, I've been basically doing it with Alex.
Oh, nice.
And because it's like one of his favorite games ever. He's played through it 3 times.
Wow.
And he's just shown me, he's guided me through things. I've passed the control over to him, and he's been streaming my game and playing it because that's SharePlay. It's great. It just works.
It just works.
I mean, it's there's a bit of latency, and he gets like a compressed view or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother him. But yeah, that was great, and kind of because it's quite a laid back game, and
yeah, a bit of latency doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Oh no, not at all. Not at all. It's the ultimate kind of doesn't matter for latency game, honestly. If you know what The Witness is, you're literally just drawing lines.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a whole game. It's great. So we're kind of just like chipping away at that and just having a great time reveling in the genius in it.
Wow.
And the art of it. And actually it's made me really assuming this is still coming out this year, I think it was meant to come out last year, but Braid Remastered, which is Jonathan Blow's previous game.
All right, okay.
Because I never played that back in the day. I was too young to have appreciated that when it originally came out. But yeah, that's made me quite excited for, they're doing a remaster of Braid. So
nice. Oh, cool. Any other notable bits and pieces?
We obviously had one night of my isolation where we tried Warzone. It was a little bit of an abortion.
You were very distracted.
I was very distracted by...
And that is not a game to be distracted in.
Wasn't ideal.
No, but that's okay. I've been playing a bit of Warzone. They have not fixed the crashing bug yet, but there is a fix that we obviously spoke about where you can cap it at 1080p and 60 FPS, which is annoying because I can play it. I think it goes higher than 1080 resolution-wise. It's still a PS4 game, but I think it does.
Oh no, it definitely does.
Okay, it does. Yeah, for sure. I couldn't quite remember that, but I play at 120 for sure. And it was a.
I think it's 1080 at 120 though, isn't it?
Question mark. I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't remember.
Oh,
I'd need to watch a Digital Foundry video. Yeah. Anyway, but it has been a wee bit getting used to, but at least it's playable. I'd rather it be at 60 and not crash. Mm-hmm. So had a good couple of sessions on that since that kind of came back. Actually ended up starting a playthrough again of It Takes Two with Richard. We'll be talking about that later.
Yes.
And then then that's been fun. So we played a good couple of chapters of that there. We've actually, because we were playing that when there wasn't a fix, or when we hadn't fixed quote unquote Warzone for ourselves. Yeah. So since then we've not played it, but I do want to get back into it. So Richard, I know you're listening. We will play more because I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it. I hope you were too. Anyway, so I've been playing that. Yes, certainly. We'll talk about that later for sure. What else? I started the Halo Infinite campaign. This was my notes from before the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. It's like I'm honestly not bothered by it.
So
if I never even lay a finger on that, I won't care.
It's interesting because the moment-to-moment gameplay is fun, but in playing the first couple of hours, from what I've heard in reviews, I've seen all the game has to offer.
Yeah,
there is like 2 locations, and you do the same thing. And there's no real cutscenes. I mean, there is at the beginning of the game, but then a lot of it's just told through like characters turning up at a hologram when you get to the end of the mission,
I
like
didn't expect
like
that.
spouting exposition at you, and then
Seems
you
a
just
bit dull.
Yeah, it really does. So,
well.
but the actual gameplay of using the grappling hook and taking out enemies and the gunplay is fun. But then I could just do that in multiplayer. So,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like, or if they, put like a horde mode in or like a sort of co-op mode, that could be quite fun with it. But in terms of like as a story, it just seems quite additive. It doesn't, I mean, I could be totally wrong in how it fits into like the whole canon, but I feel like the whole kind of Halo story's been told and had really been from 3. I don't think you really needed much more after that. Maybe 4 with Cortana and stuff like that. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I played 4 and I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, 4. I enjoyed 4 for what it was. I know it's probably definitely better than 5. That was for sure.
Yeah, you're kind of just off the back of playing them all.
It's probably the thing is like.
Wait, did you even do Reach and ODST?
Yes.
Oh my good God!
Oh yeah, I did them all.
You played 7 Halo games back to back.
I did.
That is a lot.
Then I was thinking like, is that going to hurt my opinion on this one? And it might have. But it is different. It's open world, and I actually don't think it serves that at all.
No.
Hey-ho, we'll see.
Hey, it's classic Microsoft with their big IP. They've run out of ideas years ago.
Yeah.
They're just trying to squeeze the lemon dry, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, I know.
What do we do?
It also like just it released in a playable state for sure, but not a complete state. I mean, there's still half of the game missing and stuff, and people are celebrating it as this, big thing. And it's and they released the multiplayer early, but it was as a beta. And it was all a bit.
I was
very
confused by it.
It was.
I have to
wasn't
say,
great.
I've kind of not really understood the overwhelmingly positive reaction either. I think that is actually genuinely a bit of
Halo bias.
just people trying to ride this positive momentum that Microsoft kind of have with the various things they're doing, and kind of just really, really forcing the issue of it. Like, yes, it really has turned out good. We
promise. Look.
It does this and that, and it's like, it's just a solid Halo game, and I'm like, well, I think y'all might be clutching at straws a little bit.
I think as a multiplayer suite, I think it is the most solid it's been for a long time for Halo
fair
fans,
enough.
which is good.
I don't really have much.
That's fair, and I
context.
don't have much experience, but just knowing from what I'm hearing online that the Halo guys are very happy as with it as a multiplayer suite, but it's not going to have the legs that Halo 3 had.
No,
It's just not. Like, the core Halo guys who've been playing the Master Chief Collection since it came out, of course they're going to be on it every day because they were on the Master Chief Collection every day. So we're not talking about them. We're talking about people like me that kind of came into it much later. There's not. I'd much rather play the Master Chief Collection than Halo Infinite multiplayer. Purely because they feel so similar, definitely more refined in Halo Infinite, but they're so similar yet so retro, so archaic. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean like a relic, like a thing of the past. And playing the older games, you transport yourself back to that time because you're playing this older game. It looks older.
Yeah,
it feels a bit
yeah.
older. But then it's got that charm with it. Whereas this new one feels like a refined version of the old ones, but looks like a modern game, but doesn't really have all the modern trimmings because it's trying to replicate a relic, a classic. I don't know. I think it's just. I think we've kind of evolved past that as being like the dominant way to play multiplayer. Because everything's just gotten so much bigger. Now, I'm drawn to like Warzone as a battle royale. I think Halo could. I know Halo fans might agree or disagree, but I think it could benefit from something like a battle royale. It's got the vehicles, it's got the sandbox, it's got that
could
going
freshen
for
it up.
Could freshen it up, but I'm not that guy that says everything needs to have a battle royale because I've played other ones and I don't like the other ones. I just like the one I like. So it's not like I like all battle royales. So it's not like that. But I don't know. I think it's really good. but I can't see myself investing like that much time into it. I might try and play the campaign, but it's 10 hours, and even the other ones were like 6 or something, and that was just the perfect sweet spot for
Shoes on the other foot now. 10 hours is too long.
But for
I know what you mean.
For a game where you're doing the exact same thing over and over in two locations, an outdoor open world forest or an indoor Halo looking corridor, I'm done.
Well, you've not sold me on it.
No, I wouldn't think so. But I'm not writing it off 100%. And I've been playing a lot of Riders Republic still.
Oh yeah.
That's such a good game. I know I've said that the last couple of episodes, but it's just so good. I'm
about to ruin this whole man's career.
Do you hate it? Have you played it? Did you buy it?
Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it?
Trend.
No, let's just let me. I may be mentioning it later.
Well, I'll speak positively before it's shat on by Lewis, but no. But
I've already done that in a podcast.
True.
I think
That's fair.
I think
that was on the beta. In fairness,
yeah,
that you didn't play for that long, but I've completed it, done all the available things, and just really fun. Like I'm now going back to like there's like
you've done everything.
I've done all the core races in all the fields.
Wow.
And then unlocked the final one that includes all the sports. So there's like a big final Riders Republic invitational event. It's really fun. It's like a big sort of final boss battle celebration kind of event.
It's interesting how like it's totally unfathomable for skateboarding to be involved in these types of games, because you know, for all intents and purposes, this and obviously Steep before it, they're like mixed sport games,
but they're mainly it's downhill,
right?
It's outdoor downhill.
But in theory, you could have like an extreme sports game in the vein of this, but you would never ever see it, because it's funny just how skateboarding as a game genre has become so sacred that no one would even dare.
Oh yeah,
just lump it in with something.
Well, what's quite cool is I was going to say that
it'd be interesting. Like I'm just thinking, it'd be interesting because you get to the bottom of the hill and the skate park's there, and then you've got BMX and skateboarding as well, and it'd be interesting to see how somebody else would program that. But they never.
You never know, because in the season pass. That I don't have. The season pass is fairly bare bones just now. It's like, you get like these like new like rocket skis and this bike with these massive tires that can like cycle down snow. It's quite fun, but I don't know if I'm looking. I've used it in like a random event once, but I don't have it unlocked because you need the season pass for it. But this year they're releasing a BMX bike with full BMX move sets and presumably new parks and actual like BMX things, not just downhill. So I'm very interested to see how that, and I like the thought of that being added in as DLC, because it's like it's the same game, but maybe it's going to put some new parks in, like actual skate parks that use for BMX, and we can see how that goes.
That would be very interesting if they added in skateboarding.
Well, and I'm not saying it would happen from there, but if the BMX element is there, that you never know. But and in terms of like the snowboarding and the skiing, obviously just worked well because it was based off Steep. The aerial stuff is fun. It's my least favorite part of it, but the wingsuit can be fun. It's just quite challenging. But the bike's where it's at for sure. Really, really like the bikes and that. So the BMX could work well for that there. So that's what I have been playing. So let's jump into things, right? So what do you want to do for this part of the conversation? We're going to be talking about our game of the year. I've kind of just narrowed it down to my game of the year, but I've also I want to just mention some of the games that I have played this year, culminating in game of the year. But do you want to sort of start off a little bit negative so we can... how about we start off with the games that we missed?
I have, one or two just general thoughts about just kind of, I suppose, the way the year played out in terms of the kind of what was the focus for us. So I'm talking about, for me, I kind of called it the summer of Xbox.
Of course.
Because, we got well, was it like late spring, I think?
Yep.
And So that, because it was still kind of COVID-y then, we were still
Yeah.
just coming out of that second big lockdown. And I think really the main theme for me is that, Game Pass changed it all. It completely flipped everything on its head, which I didn't expect for me. It was really just initially meant to just be a little thing, complimentary, just, I'm sure there'd be things in there. I was initially thinking I was going to be more interested in just the typical Xbox exclusives that I missed, but then I quickly realised that I'm not interested in them really at all. And it was everything else. It was just like a tidal wave of indie and quirky games that just took over. So that's kind of the theme of the year for me. I'd say another big theme, obviously, though, and this is definitely crosses over for both of us, it has been Warzone.
Yeah.
Because I think I was still playing it a fair bit the first.
Yeah, because
early
you only
months.
started playing Warzone in like late September, early October.
Round about then, something
From 2020.
20, yeah.
So yeah, you would have been,
that-
and definitely for me. I mean, like Warzone's obviously been like. I mean, I know I bring it up in the episodes just as what I've been playing because it is kind of a constant.
Yeah.
But the thought of it still being a constant and something that I do want to jump into, like all the time, is so bizarre. Like to me, like I think I'm at 37 days played,
Yeah, it's crazy.
which. I mean, ask me in August of 2020 if that's what I'd be doing. I'd have been like, nah, a battle royale game, no. So that's
There you go.
That's been fun. Like I've liked that extreme variation, but I just like also what it's done for, bringing people together. Kerry and I get to share it, and
Totally.
we've made good friends. Or made friends into better friends because of it as well, and
Yeah.
which has been really nice. I would sum up 2021 as a year in games as a forgettable one, though.
Well, yes.
Overall,
I would say that
because you obviously there would be a couple of newer indie games in there, but typically what you've been playing on Game Pass
There's a lot older-
that wasn't from 2021. Same with myself. I played all the Halo games. That was a 2021 memory for me, but those games are not from 2021. There's one of them, and I've just talked about how it was quite disappointing. So
I would say there probably was actually a solid handful of
Yes.
the new, because a lot of day one really quite
yeah.
low tier, shall we say, games
Yeah.
went on to Game Pass day one, and I can't even remember some of them.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I'd say that those are definitely the two main themes between the two of us, because that was probably the first year that it wasn't the main thing for me wasn't AAA cinematic games.
Well, there wasn't really any.
There wasn't much to go on, yeah.
For especially as PlayStation fans, there wasn't really.
But it was kind of a shocking change of scenery for me.
And for me, well, I mean, in the same way that it was mainly, a battle royale game, a multiplayer Call of Duty game that sort of took up my time, to think that, and then
Even just having, obviously, Last of Us 2 was 2020. That's like a huge. That's so big for us.
Ghost of Tsushima as well.
Yeah, which I don't. Did I play that actually? Was that maybe early?
You played it in 2021,
Okay, yeah.
but it's a 2020 game. Do you know what I mean? So like it was.
Couldn't remember when it was, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, because I mean that's half the battle for me is actually I have the good memories of games that I played in 2021 that weren't necessarily released then. I'm going to mention some of them, because it's important because I played them that year.
Of course, yeah.
I kind of almost feel like it doesn't really matter that much when games are released, but obviously it's important to note the new ones as well because they're new. So we'll do that.
Of course. The jumper's coming off.
But there you go. That was one that I forgot that I did actually play last year, which was Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
So that's an honourable mention.
An honourable mention. Well, I mean, I can, in terms of games that I played last year that were not from last year, obviously Halo was like a big chunk when we got the Xbox.
Probably easier for you to actually remember this.
Well, but more, it was mainly through. It was actually mainly through the Xbox side of things that I played games that I'd missed. So, for example, like Halo games, Forza Horizon 4, Gears of War 4. I mean, that was a fun. It was totally ridiculous, but
Ridiculous,
that
but
was
fun.
that was
Yeah, no, that was a
good-
highlight.
That was a highlight.
That was a
for sure.
highlight. I enjoyed
Probably
that.
for all the wrong reasons, but it was a highlight
Hey.
for sure. Paper.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what else? There was like Tetris Effect was like such a random like burst of.
How could I actually? I don't think I wrote that one down. How could I forget?
But again, it's it's playing a little bit loose with the 2021 a year in review. But I suppose it's our 2021. Yeah, that's fair. There's,
Well, it's such a big theme for me because obviously the Game Pass thing was it was
of course.
it was so important to me. It was
Yes.
like so huge. So it's kind of why I do have some noted down from my experiences of that because it dominated my.
But I suppose then
Experience.
that just comes into your experience with 2021, not
I
necessarily.
clearly didn't do
like-
a good job because I didn't even write down Tetris. So, and
I got you, boo. I got you, boo.
that was a 10 for me.
So yeah, no, there's I'll say if any more sort of games come to mind, but I think I've kind of put down everything.
Yeah.
Games missed, but honorable mention. I'm sure there'll be some shared ones here. I'll just sort of list them off. Hitman 3.
Well, interestingly,
You didn't play Hitman 3, did you?
No, but I did actually make a small footnote in terms of. So I actually played through. I terribly, by the way, played through Hitman 2 running in the Hitman 3
a Hitman
engine.
3. Yeah.
So that's like my really tenuous roundabout way of saying, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Okay, cool.
I actually played through each level and shittily completed them, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was, in that engine, it looked really great, and it was just really smooth, and just everything was nice.
Yeah.
To play in that, and yeah, that's a kind of underdog.
Yeah.
Mention for me.
It's also one that will get forgotten about quite quickly because it came out in January of 2021. So it's not on.
three did,
3 did.
which
sorry.
I didn't play. Any
Of course, but like Hitman 3 is,
Yes. It all kind of melds into each other anyway. Like
Returnal. Neither of us played Returnal. That was obviously
That's a big one, yeah.
a big PlayStation 5
and
game.
there's another big one which I'm surprised neither of us played.
I'm not surprised. It's like a bullet hell game.
Oh no, sorry, I'd already moved on. Returnal, yeah, no, fuck.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, you sorry.
I thought we had already quickly moved past Returnal. Like, no, okay, yeah, of course we haven't played Returnal. Come on. Like,
I was like, you're surprised none of us played Returnal? Do you know us?
I did think about it once or twice, but thought, I came to my senses.
Yeah, fair enough. What were you about to? That was a good segue. That
I mean,
just didn't pick up
on a similar level, though, you could argue that, and obviously it was like a couple of months prior to 2021, but had anybody on paper, one of us, been able to play these games and maybe would have got round to it in 2021 because it was coming up so close, was the Demon's Souls remake.
Yeah.
So you could maybe say that was one we missed, but
Yes.
then
Yeah.
just barely.
Yeah,
Not really.
for sure.
But yeah, obviously the other big one is Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah, that's purely down to I'm just protesting on cost, which is interesting because I wouldn't normally. But Ratchet and Clank, I really like Ratchet and Clank, and I know I'm going to enjoy Rift Apart.
I'm still looking forward to it.
I know that's it. I know I'm going to enjoy it, like no question. But it's also not like say it was like a new Jak and Daxter game, day one. I played Jak and Daxter more than Ratchet and Clank in that PS2 era. So that Ratchet and Clank I've got some nostalgia for, but only really one of the games in particular. It wasn't a full series that I played like Jak and Daxter. So I'm definitely up for it. Probably, I mean, even now, and it's like January sale, it's down to like £52.
Oh.
It's only 25% off. So I think it will go down further, and it will just be like right price, right time for it. So that's one that for sure I'm excited for. Would probably be up there on my list for like game of the year. Maybe not game of the year, just based on what else has come out, but up there if I had played it, just based on knowing my tastes and knowing kind of what I like in that kind of game. Just a bit too expensive for the length of time.
8 hours, is it?
Yeah. 70 was just a wee bit too much. Now, I don't base all games on that value, but it came into it with that one. There was other factors at play as well. But also timing of when it came out. I can't remember exactly, but I just wasn't in a place to play it then.
No.
So that's what it is.
No, it's the same for me because I'm really just waiting until I'll probably use. I've still got once again find myself with a big ass CEX voucher, nothing to spend it on. Eventually,
Nothing to spend.
I'm thinking this year at some point it will be. It'll just get to a point where I'm like, okay, I can pull the trigger, because as you know, I might even like 8 hours, cool. Even less, cool. I'm not even going to do any side shit. I'm going to blaze right through that. I'm like, I don't care about building up this stat. I don't care about that. I'm just going to get through the game.
If you get it on disc,
yeah, well,
I'll take it.
It's so short. You can borrow it, and then I'll just take it back in.
Take it back in.
Have it back, CEX.
Take it back from me. Couple other ones. Knockout City released last year. Quite a popular one.
Never played that one.
I played it a bit on Xbox, but it was definitely needed to be a bit more social. Playing with people. At its core, it's actually quite an interesting idea. It looked really generic, especially when it was getting shown off, but it actually did have some unique things.
Well,
going on with
it could have been a Rocket League situation,
Yes,
but
I don't think it's quite gonna. Well, I know it's not gonna do that. We'd have heard more about it. There's a new Mario Golf game that came out that was apparently fun. But just a bit lackluster, much like all the Mario sports games that have come out on Switch, like the tennis one and stuff. Like, it's good at its core, but it's just a bit missing, lacking.
I'm thinking of another big Nintendo one that I don't think you've played.
Oh, Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
I've got that on my list here. Metroid Dread. It's just, I've just never played Metroid. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had Metroid Prime on GameCube.
Yeah.
I was just too young for it. I had no idea what to do.
That was 3D, right?
That was 3D. Yeah. But think about it. I was 7. Played Metroid Prime.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
I literally didn't. I couldn't get. I didn't know where to. I'd like load in to the first mission. There was a barrier in my way. Didn't know how to get.
Was that the one that was on DS? Did they port it, or there was a 3D perspective first person one on the DS, and that's the only one I've ever owned.
Yeah,
and of course I never got through that either in my 6 months that I had the DS.
Yeah, so definitely I'm glad that people enjoyed Metroid Dread. It just wasn't really for me.
Yeah.
12 minutes. I know you played 12 minutes. I've decided now that I don't like roguelikes.
It's not a roguelike.
Sorry. Sorry. Games, looping games. Let's call it that.
Definitely a looping game, yeah.
Looping game. I suppose, yeah, it's not roguelike.
I know.
Kind of is roguelike.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Start again because you're with information that you've had in previous runs, but okay,
I do know what you mean.
That's not the best example, but looping / roguelike, but I'm encapsulating it there. Listening to the same line of dialogue over and over and over again from Willem Dafoe made me want to rip my hair out, and I played it for about 12 minutes. So there you go. I'll give it an honourable mention, though, because I know some people did like it. Just want to remind people that it did come out last year.
It's an honourable mention for me. I mean, I wasn't blown away by it. Mm-hmm. I was slightly disappointed because I actually, when I first saw the trailer and stuff, I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be some really kind of cool top-down perspective, but kind of quite highly produced indie game, which is right up my alley, but wasn't quite what I expected. It was
I was
a bit more Sims-like than I was expecting.
I was intrigued by the cast of the three of them, but
pointless.
Because maybe with Willem Dafoe, because you could tell it was him. You couldn't tell it was James McAvoy and Daisy Ridley, though. It
makes me laugh in just all the games journalism when they're like, and great performances from the great cast. And I'm like, you're just saying, are you even listening? These are not good acting performances. They are phoning it in, taking the paycheck.
And they're all good actors.
Of course.
Because you know that they can do better.
Care.
They don't care.
They're not great performances. Stop saying that. We can't advance the art form if you keep saying things like this. Watch a good film, and then you'll know
with these actors in it, and then you'll go, oh wait a minute, that wasn't a great performance. And then the last one I've got here that I actually do want to get to is Guardians of the Galaxy. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Seemed to be the
which is odd because we literally watched coverage on it, and I went, no, I don't want to play that.
I mean, I'm sure I could get through it and enjoy it enough, but it's just kind of not really my thing anymore.
I know it's not your thing, but it's definitely like, I like the IP.
I really like the world design. It's like they've really brought the comic to life.
Yes.
And it looks incredible in terms of the levels and stuff, but it's not enough for me to take the plunge,
Fair enough. And then that's me for like honourable mentions, like just things that, are of note. There's obviously so many more games that came out than that.
I mean, it was
a slow year.
We've at least hit on the big ones, I think.
I didn't want people to be like, oh, you're talking about Game of the Year and you didn't play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. We would have, it was just wasn't.
We can't play everything.
We can't play everything. We're only two of us. Let's stick with the negatives a little bit before we
let's
go and
do
gush for
most
the positives.
disappointing.
Most disappointing
This is gonna be
games.
fun.
This is going to be fun. I already know what yours is, and I've got yours in my list because I think it's appropriate. Let's just talk about eFootball 2022 then.
Starting off hot. Jesus
Yeah, we need to start off at the top
Christ.
and then like cam it down into the positives.
Oh my God, what the hell happened? I don't want to just regurgitate what I already, because I've done this rant
Of course.
already once or twice on the podcast, but it was just the most heartbreaking disappointment.
Yeah.
Because I've looked forward to PES every year.
Yep.
And it was so badly executed. They went free to play. They completely fucked it because it was meant to just be PES. They took a year off.
Mm-hmm.
They just did a season update for 21. They were like, right, we're hitting next gen hard.
They said that.
Yes,
as well,
they did.
didn't they?
The initial announcement and promotion they did for it was like, this is going to be just the most mind-blowing PES ever. We're going to use all the power of next gen, and it's going to be great. Here we go. And they just completely... Something must have gone really, really wrong at Konami, which doesn't surprise you at all. And they just must have had a complete panic and got some warped ideas about, actually, it'll be good for business if we try and do some free-to-play thing and capitalize on the weird kind of card system they have that I think they make money off that in like
The mobile game, isn't it?
yeah, and I think it's in like Asian markets and stuff. It's really quite odd because when you see on their pages and stuff, all the comments for a long time were just all about the mobile version, and it would be like it would be all like Arabic commentators, and clearly they'd hit this market and it struck a chord with these people, and they would just really loved the PES version of, I guess, something like Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
But on the mobile, it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
And they obviously saw that and were just like, okay.
I know who's going to love that. The Western market.
And they were being really vague about like, well, what is the version of the game we're going to get on PS5 because it's coming out on PS5? Is it going to just be the mobile game running on PS5? And more or less it was.
Yeah, because they need to build for the lowest common denominator, don't they?
Because they were trying to do it crossplay between everything, but they kept changing things and not really explaining things, and nobody knew what was going on. And it came out, and it was just a total mess. It was like some of the funniest, ridiculous-looking character models and glitches, and it just looked horrible.
I heard that they had to patch the ball physics.
Yeah, that's been one of the things that PES has been able to pride itself on forever is ball physics and a really kind of natural feeling passing game and just the kind of flow of the game and how the tactics interplay with that have always been the thing. But it was killed this year. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah,
because they would switch to a different engine and they obviously just couldn't. They just couldn't do it. They were just like, oh shit. We can't do this thing in Unreal Engine. We can't do it.
Wow.
So it's completely destroyed their reputation. And I don't know how they're done. They're done. They've completely ruined it. And I can't believe this has happened. It's sensational. Sensational.
It is. I mean, have you played any PES? Like, as in gone back to...
So, I mean, it even completely killed my enthusiasm for football games.
Just in general, yeah.
I've just stopped playing because, I actually got, when I had somebody living for me, with me for 2 months, and we actually got FIFA 22.
Yeah.
I was just like, because he was really into it, and I was like, just bite the bullet. FIFA 22 on PS5, first time in years. How bad can it be? And, it's fine.
Yep.
There's the usual things about FIFA to like, and it plays better than it has done in recent years, but he was just kicking my ass, and I don't know, I was just getting frustrated, and it's like, it's just not the same, it's not the same. And terms of how it feels and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I just tried to go back to earlier PES ones, but I was just like, nah, I've had enough.
For sure.
I'm exhausted, so I'm done for a while.
Well, let's hope that the other free-to-play football game that's
No,
coming
it'll
out,
be trash.
I know.
It'll definitely be trash.
Anyway, so there we go. Take the eFootball 2022 off the list as a dishonourable mention. Battlefield 2042 came and went with a massive fart.
Which was not what I think
Not
you were
what it needed to
expecting.
do. No, like there was this whole chat.
You're quite hyped for a while.
I was cautiously optimistic with it because I've recently, gotten into my first person shooters. It's the first Battlefield game to come out in my passion.
Yeah.
Ding. Laptop dinged. Anyway, I'm fine. I'm gonna turn that down so it doesn't ding again. There we go. It was that one. Yes, messages coming to my watch, phone, and laptop all at once. Nice and distracting in the middle of a podcast. Thank you, Kerry. Anyway,
Quite a ding.
who knows that we're recording? It's all good though. So Battlefield 2042 came out, or it was announced and looked really interesting, weather systems and 128 players or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, it's quite again. There's been a recent theme of games coming out in quite poor states.
Yeah, well, that seems to be like a sort of a theme of the sort of anticipated games from this year. Even, we mentioned Halo. It's not broken by any means, but it's not complete. eFootball was no more than a demo. Battlefield 2042 is broken. There's another game we'll obviously talk about that was broken as well. We'll get there. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I wonder if it's kind of settled down a wee bit. But what was the 2042? The Metacritic. I don't think the Metacritic was. I mean, it wasn't great. Yeah. So 68 on Metacritic, 2.1 user score.
Well,
That's sensationalism.
no surprise.
No surprise. That's sensationalism. 2.8. But there was a moment in time where it was a 0.8. It's definitely not a 0.8. Like, let's be clear. But
It takes a lot for a game to be. You actually
sub one.
almost need to try to make a game a 1. It's like actually quite an achievement.
Yeah, for sure. So it was just, I don't know. They didn't make a campaign. Not that I really care. I never played the Battlefield campaigns in the few that I've played, except for Battlefield 1. That was a fun campaign actually. The little vignette stories.
Yeah, I never got around to that.
Yeah, it was good. And then to put more resources into the multiplayer, and then the multiplayer just came out. And I'm not a Battlefield guy, but I know that it didn't hit what Battlefield fans wanted. They kind of ruined the squad-based gameplay, making it very, everyone can use every type of gun. And that sounds good on paper, but not for Battlefield fans. They want someone to be a assault and a medic and whatever. So yeah, it just wasn't really it. I played the beta for it on the Xbox, and I actually played the 10 hour. I didn't play it for 10 hours, but I played the 10-hour free trial on EA Play, and
Right.
I didn't like the beta. Didn't like the way the guns felt. Thought the guns felt really, really bad. And
Well,
then,
now being such a seasoned Call of Duty player, it's like you're quite
I'm quite
scrutinizing.
yes, yeah. I'm quite tuned into the feeling of guns in a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, well, maybe. The game came out and I played it. The beta gave you a lot more in the way of like unlocks for your guns. Like there was attachments unlocked on your guns, just so you could play with like a bit more choice. And then when the full game came out, you had no attachments, so you had to level them up and unlock them. So I was just like, I'm not going to do that because I don't like it. But what I was thinking was, the guns felt not great in the beta, and that was with attachments. And then I played the game about a month or so later when it came out, and had no attachments, and I went, these guns feel terrible. And then I had this thought, literally, I played one game of it. This is my thought process. These guns feel terrible. Oh, it's because I don't have any attachments. Maybe I should give it a fair shake, get some attachments. oh wait, I had all the attachments in the beta and I didn't like it then. Turned it off, deleted it, off it went.
Bye.
You know what I mean? Like that was literally my step-by-step
Yeah.
thought process. In a matter of seconds. I just knew, you know what I mean? And, you know, the fact of the matter is that, you know, I'm not saying Vanguard, like Call of Duty Vanguard was this like, oh, incredible game, but I was already playing that and it was just like, right, that's what I'm going to just like, I'm just going to stick with the Call of Duty stuff because that's really it, you know, for me, and that's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a level of consistency with the Call of Duty stuff that you just kind of know there's going to be quality there no matter what.
At the end of the day, you know, you could be disappointed with Vanguard as a game, but it really didn't release that broken. It was playable at launch, and that's more that can be, and it was content complete. Zombies fans might say that it wasn't, but at least it had some zombie stuff in there. So it was very content complete for your $70 purchase or whatever, you know. So you can't say that for Battlefield, and you can't say that for Halo. Halo,
Yeah.
maybe is made more of a splash because it's been a while since like a traditional Halo game came out, but you can't say that for those two other games. So you have to credit where it's due. I'm not saying
2042.
not saying give credit to Activision for everything because I know they're
Well,
bad.
yeah, grain of salt. But
Yes.
No, I don't know. It smacked of like them panicking and being like,
Yeah.
oh my God, how can we compete with this juggernaut now?
Yeah.
Like what? Or
They've
somebody.
always been that way with Battlefield. How do we compete with
I
it?
guess. I mean, it was.
Maybe not always. You know, maybe the PC days are a bit different.
Yeah, it
but-
was more organic back in
Yes.
the early days when, you know, obviously that was just their peak of their powers. But yeah, I think it's just always going to be a struggle for them because they're trying to come up with these different wild ideas to try and draw people's attention. So, okay, what is it? All it is just this massive map and there's crazy things happening and it's going to be really exciting and you're going to have a great time. That's it. And also, it doesn't work that well. Oh.
And there's hardly, I mean, really minimal destructible elements and things like that. You know, it ain't it, Chief.
So it seems like to me it was just panicking and rushing.
Yep, they should have taken more time. That's a common theme. Should have taken your time. We could have been talking about you in the best games of 2022.
Yeah,
But-
Battlefield is a weird one. They just seem to have really lost the plot.
Yeah.
Because they did like Hardline. Do you remember Hardline? Was a weird one.
Hardline, yeah.
And then 6. Was it 6?
No, there was Battlefield 3 and 4, then Battlefield Hardline, then Battlefield 1, which was just
Which
World
was
War
the
1.
comeback, and that's really the only.
And it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Battlefield 1. It was
Yeah,
it
totally.
was a good campaign, fun multiplayer. I enjoyed playing that. And then Battlefield 5.
5.
So
That was
technically
meant to be the-
6.
That's what I was thinking of. I meant, was it 5
But
or
then
was it
you've got, like,
6?
but then you've got like Bad Company and stuff like that, you know, that
Right.
also add to how many Battlefield games. But yes, Battlefield 5 was the World War II era.
And it was
following
kind of
Battlefield 1.
Yeah, and it was kind of received lukewarmly.
It was lukewarm. Yeah. They gave it away as a PS Plus game last year. Played it for like a couple of games, and it was definitely meh.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's what it is. So I kind of had high hopes that like 2042 was gonna, slightly futuristic, but not too far futuristic, modern military shooter squad based. Nope, didn't do it.
They can't be trusted.
EA can't be trusted, except from in one game that we'll talk about later.
What one is that?
Oh.
I can't think. No, oh, right. Okay. Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I thought you meant
Yeah.
the sec. Oh, never mind.
No,
never
not
mind.
in this section.
Never mind.
Any more in your section here?
Um.
I've got two more myself.
Well, I touched on it earlier, but I don't actually want to say too much. So yes, of course. While I realise that I haven't actually gone and got the full Riders Republic game myself, having played the beta and then
For 10 minutes.
and no, it was more than that.
You told me 10 minutes.
Oh, I can't remember, but no, it was definitely more than 10 minutes. And then playing again here with your copy, I just cannot get on board with the feel of that game. I just can't.
So interesting.
I really, really don't like how it controls, and I just can't.
There is two control
I've
schemes.
come clean. No, but no, even just the movement, that it just doesn't feel. it's like not smooth enough for me, because that's me also still comparing it to Descenders, which just is like that sense of movement and speed and flying through the air just feels right to me, and I just can't. I don't know.
Descenders didn't come out in 2021, did it?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, that's obviously one of my
an honourable mention as well.
But then there's a whole bunch of them that have come under the Game Pass thing that I can't even really list them. There's too many. But yes, I just couldn't do it in the end. I really wanted to. I really wanted to like it. If it felt more like Descenders, I probably would have bought it.
Fair enough.
So it's not a huge one. I'm not disgusted by it. I still think it is good at what it does. And for those that like the feel of it, then, all the power to you. It's not a bad game. It's just
definitely not a bad game.
No, not at all. It just didn't work in my hands somehow.
Fair enough.
Which happens sometimes.
I think it's literally like my number 2 game of the year or something.
But that's what makes this special.
I like it. It's good. Have you got one more?
Well, I actually thought you might have mentioned this, but I guess you didn't really play it much at all, and neither did I. To be fair,
is it your last one though?
Okay, so I'm just
because I've got 2 more.
Oh, you got 2 more? Okay, this is gonna be a long episode.
No, this one won't take long. I've not played it, but it's just the way that it was announced and shown over shows.
Okay, maybe this is
Far Cry 6.
Oh, right. No.
Okay, Far Cry 6. I've not played it, so I can't say that it's disappointing. But from going from this, like, oh my goodness, we're getting Gus Fring, Giancarlo Esposito, and it's going to be like this, sort of Cuban Revolution sort of thing, to like, here's a wiener dog with no legs, and you're like, okay.
No, that's
the tonal dissonance in Far Cry 6 is kind of an interesting one. But from what we've heard since it's been out, Giancarlo Esposito's hardly in the game. Criminal. Like, don't pay for this name and face and plaster him over your box art if he's not going to be like but they've always kind of done that in the Far Cry games. But even Far Cry 5, that villain was in there from the word go and was there the whole time.
Yeah, because they could afford it because he wasn't famous. Mm-hmm. The other 3 guys were big actors.
Yep. So
even Vass,
Vass,
also in Breaking Bad.
Better Call Saul.
Oh, is he not in Breaking Bad?
No, he's
I thought his character was.
No, just Better Call Saul.
Ah, well, same thing.
But still. And then obviously Troy Baker doing Far Cry 4 as well.
Oh, right, it was Troy Baker, wasn't it?
It was.
Because he was also hardly in it.
I know.
Pagan Min.
Anyway, so Far Cry 6 was...
Oh, just fuck Ubisoft, basically.
Except for Riders Republic.
Oh, yeah, that's them. Well, okay, the world is a complicated place.
Tonal dissonance in Ubisoft, for me.
Just remake the first Assassin's Creed, all right?
Anyway, that's all we need to say. I've got one more, and I think it's one that we both will have on the list.
Well, I'm going to quickly brush over. So 2, just when we talk about, maybe the smaller ones that didn't release this year for me, and just thinking of ones that maybe I was looking forward to or whatever. A Plague Tale. So it wasn't a new game, but that should be a game that I like.
Yeah.
And everyone absolutely just bangs on about it all the time. Oh, this is just one of the most underrated games ever. It's one of these great indies. And they talk about like the performances again. I'm like, no, guys, this is all trash. This is not a good, this is such an overrated game.
Okay.
I'm still intrigued by the second one, but it's looking like it's going to be quite more the same. So I think I'm just going to be disappointed again because I'm not getting what I want out of it. When it moved to PS, so technically it did because it released the PS5 version this year. The rat feel and the DualSense was the only thing that I enjoyed.
The rat feel.
Seriously, that was the only good thing about the game.
Wow.
Take that, game critics. You all don't know what it's so boring. Terrible performances. Graphics are not as good as everyone says they are. I do not know what anyone's talking about. It's not a good looking game.
Wow.
I just don't get it with that at all. Overrated.
IGN, hire us instead.
So that was a PS Plus / Game Pass one from 21, and the other one that I just want to mention because this was a game that was meant to be lauded, and this was a definitive one for me where it was like off after 15 minutes. It's kind of funny. It's actually a really old game, Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, right.
Just, yeah. I just thought it'd be funny to mention that because I really, really, really didn't like that game at all.
Fair.
I didn't give it much time, obviously, but I knew right away. I was like,
I had
this is
rose-tinted glasses with that game. It was an interesting story because obviously I'm a big Insomniac fan, especially with Spider-Man. And a couple of years ago, I had an Xbox on loan, Xbox One S, the white one.
That's right, yeah.
And literally the only game I played on it was Sunset Overdrive. I picked it up for like £5 from CEX and played it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I just didn't finish it because I gave the Xbox back. I didn't finish it. But I enjoyed it I thought the movement was great. I thought it felt really, really good. The combat was good fun. It was a vibrant game. It was colourful and stuff. And then I played Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And then I got the Xbox and went, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Sunset Overdrive again and I'm going to finish it this time. And then went, oh, Insomniac have definitely gotten better at making movement feel better with Spider-Man for sure because it felt really rough.
Well, there's another one that I played this year, Miles Morales.
Of course.
That was great.
2020 game, but yeah, amazing. Yep, absolutely.
Liked that a lot.
Yes. So, yeah, I kind of feel you with the Sunset Overdrive.
It was probably good at the time.
Yes. Because I played it. I think they've just gotten better and it's hard to go back.
I just found it profoundly annoying.
It's definitely that Deadpool kind of,
but not
zeitgeist.
in a good way.
Yeah, I get
not
you.
in a good way. And I don't know, the gameplay just felt flat to me. I just didn't feel like I was doing anything exciting. But I don't know.
Last one though. Have you got one?
One more of those. The Pathless.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I spoke about that anyway.
I think last week or
Quite
last episode.
recently, yeah. So disappointing because it should be the type of game that I'm really into. I just don't think they did it too well. It was too bloated, etc. For what it was trying to be. Last one of note that's quite a funny one, and it was a new release, and it was very controversial. But I only played some of one of the games. GTA
Grand Theft Auto
Trilogy,
the definitive edition
edition. Yeah.
Did you get that? Did you get us talking over each other? GTA Trilogy remastered. The
How
definitive
funny
edition.
was that?
Oh, that came and went with a bird pooping on your shoulder when you eat a chippy down the beach, didn't it? Yeah. That was rough.
I actually, because initially when I first loaded up San Andreas and played a bit, I was
That's
like,
all I played as well.
I was like, oh, this is okay, fair enough. This is kind of what I was expecting. This should be all right. But then the cracks started to appear, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, this is not. I really wish they had actually properly
Just remade one of them.
Well, even that, I just think they could have gone further with modernizing it.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
definitely. When they said, we've updated controls, I was thinking that the driving was going to feel better. I was thinking that we were maybe getting like a cover-based shooting system or something like in GTA 5, rather than just standing out in the middle of the street, just like locking onto targets and with your guns that look massive in their hands.
Yeah, there's
because
just a lot of phoned-in weirdness.
It was very strange. It was also... Yeah, I don't have the same nostalgia for like the story of that game. The only nostalgia I've got, I think I've said on the podcast before, was just like being at friends' houses, putting in cheats. And, you know what I mean? Like that's everyone's story with
Which
it.
is fair enough.
To the point where I didn't even realize that San Andreas had like a San Francisco and a Las Vegas.
Yes,
bit,
yeah.
Because we never got there. We just literally had,
Totally,
Los Santos.
totally.
So that that was kind of the thing with that. The beginning of that game is trash. Just gonna put it out there. Played the first hour. The way it tutorializes is the most like early 2000s thing ever.
Yeah.
But the fact that like it's summed up in you're in the same like 4 streets for the mission. The first mission, you can obviously drive about and go further. But if you want to just like, I wanted to get through some missions so I could like unlock areas of the game that I haven't ever seen before, and it was just like, go and tag this thing, and it's just like to teach you how to tag things.
It's not overly engaging in this day and age.
No, it's definitely of its time. I understand that, but for it being lauded as one of the greatest games of all time, I was just like, it might get there, but this is bad.
I'm actually kind of sad that I didn't even come across that many funny glitches because, oh wow,
Some
the
of them
compilations were amazing.
That's the most entertaining part from it.
Yeah, that was
for
like
sure.
that was WWE 2K20 levels stuff right there.
It was, which is kind of sad to think about, but because I remember when that trailer came out and it did like the wipe from left to right of like, here's how it used to look and here's how it looks now. I was like, That's interesting. It's stylistic. It's cartoonish. It's
Yeah.
exaggerate. Oh, it just is. Oh, it's just like an AI rendering of like this. Like you just ran your game through like an Uprising software, like effectively, and it misspelt like things on the signage because you were teaching an AI how to make
Yeah.
your signage and stuff.
The only thing I'll give it is, and this is me just like defending my corner again, because I think obviously there's not really that many actual video files in the gaming community, and they actually, for once, Rockstar, they did a good job with color grading in that game. Actually, it's simple because it's cartoony and whatever, but actually them going in and touching things up and making bits of light, specular light, stand out, and some nice use of color and balance. I actually think they did quite a good job with that. It's just too bad that most gamers are morons and they don't realise what's even going on, so they just think it looks bad and too dark, and that's their problem.
Oh, in fairness though, when it was raining in that game, it looked.
Oh, the rain overlay thing was odd.
the rain that was falling underneath the ocean water, like the river water and stuff. It was like falling in. And
in terms of assets and things like that, there's definitely a lot of odd shit.
Character models as well, like the sort of the Gumby looking, like
God,
on the bike and stuff. Like
nightmares.
So that's our negativity out of the way. There might be a little bit more as we go, but yeah, games we've played leading up to our game of the year. So I'm not tearing now. Much of this is in no real particular order. I'll try and.
Well,
I've actually not played that many new 2021 games this year. Overly. Hoover's being hoovered.
Is that going to be picked up? I feel like that's. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Sorry.
I've still got a decent little list of games to talk about.
Yeah.
Both, honourable mentions, and I couldn't really decide, to be honest with you, what my game of the year was. It was between two things.
Cool.
But I do have a fair few honourable mentions that I would like to also say.
Yeah.
So how we're going to do this?
We'll just go one at a time.
Okay.
Just see how we get on. We'll just play it by ear.
I'm going to get... Okay. Some more underdogs.
Yes.
Include Maquette.
All right.
Which actually I quite enjoyed. It was a PS Plus Day 1 release thing on the PS5. And I just thought it was a nice puzzle game.
Yeah.
Really.
I played it for like 45 minutes. Wasn't really for me, but...
Well, I actually thought I really liked the way when you would kind of progress each bit and you would get another song. The soundtrack was great.
Yeah, there's some cool elements to it for sure.
Yeah, I like the art style, and it was just quite quirky, like a sort of perspective puzzle game, one of those. And another one of those that I also played this year was Superliminal, which was an incredible perspective game. So, little things like that. Psychonauts 2.
Actually, I had that.
Which I feel bad about not finishing.
I put that in my games missed but honourable mention, even though I played an hour of it. I didn't want to. I thought it was unfair to say that I'd played it. I played an hour of it. It's just. It was really like, see the opening sequence where you're like.
You have to play the first one.
Yeah.
Because to have that kind of context of the vibe of it, I think, and the characters.
But like, I was really enthralled by that opening sequence where you were like turning a corner and like you.
In terms of what it's doing,
stretched out and stuff. It's like really, really cool. And then it just kind of, once I got to like the headquarters of the Psychonauts, I was just like, okay, I'm not really feeling it overly now.
I think had I played the first one and had an appreciation for that, I probably would have stuck with it.
Yeah.
But also, I think, I would always love to play a kind of quirky platformer like that and enjoy it. But I think it's maybe, for me, in terms of what I want out of that, it's just a little bit too big in scope for me to enjoy. I'm like, I kind of just want to hop from sequence to sequence and enjoy those set pieces for what they are. I kind of can't be bothered with going between things and collectibles. I just can't be bothered with that.
I think it actually would have benefited from being a little bit more retro in its game design. You know, like not being so like, you know, like big hub areas and things like that. You know,
We don't always need to have a hub area, guys.
do you know what I mean though? Like, you know, you're thinking just like if it was just level to level.
It's a bit too long for me.
Yeah.
I think it was going to end up being 15, 20 hours, and I'm like, nah, too much.
Too much of that kind of thing there. I'll sort of blast through one or two bits and pieces here. Two that I've just not put the time into. Halo Infinite was spoken about, but I have played a bit more of the multiplayer than the campaign, in fairness, from the test flight weekend / it being launched. You know, I said what I said earlier. It's good. It's more Halo. Halo's never really been for me, even in my, you know, like multiplayer wise in this last year. I've enjoyed the time I played with it, but it's not going to like bring me back overly. But shout out to it. Glad people are enjoying it. And then Forza Horizon 5, spoke about a couple of weeks ago. It's more Forza, and that's a good thing. I've just only recently played 4. 5 was hit right for the people who've been playing 4 since it came out, and I am not that person. I've recently played 4. It's more of that in a very, very good way.
I kind of almost put them together.
Yes.
In terms of my playing experience. I didn't play much of 5 either.
But it's that is not like, I know that is a incredible game because I've just played it.
I appreciate
in a different setting.
Totally. I can't bring myself to even put it in amongst all the rest of them, because I'm like, I only find driving in games fun up to a point. I'm like, when it's that much of it, I'm like, it's mind numbing. I'm like, I cannot be driving anymore. It's too much.
So that's kind of the two on the Xbox side that are obviously like those new big games that, you know, people will want to hear something about. So I've kind of spoken about them. Riders Republic has a Forza Horizon vibe to it, you know, just like the different career paths.
Yeah.
Street racing, dirt racing, and then like mountain biking and skiing and stuff that you can level up separately. So it's kind of got that feel. And that kind of scratched the itch just now. So it's like too many of like a similar game at once. Racing, you know, open world, kooky. So yeah, that's kind of that one's staying on the system and will be getting played when the itch needs scratched, as it were.
I can't. I mean, as negative as this might sound, I can't see me needing. I don't think I'll be having an itch.
Fair.
I just think I'm like, when I'm going back to playing more things, it's just, don't know.
Yeah,
there'll be something else that isn't driving, but that's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you like it, then that's great. Because it's a very well made driving game.
It's a very good one of it. Yes, absolutely.
Right then, just to sort of fully get the whole here we go about Game Pass stuff that isn't even from this year thing again. Let's kind of clear this up once and for all. These ones would have been right up in the mix in terms of being Game of the Year if they had released this year.
Okay.
Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
Of course.
So I tried playing the first one.
Yep.
And I was like, you know, I don't know. Kind of, it would have looked amazing at the time, but I was kind of expecting more from it.
You built it up quite a lot in your head over the years, maybe.
Yeah. Because, you know, these days I think that sort of game really benefits from being, on a technical level, really kind of proficient. And again, like it would have been at the time, and et cetera, but I don't know, just moving on to just trying let me just try the second one, you know, see if it's more refined. It was like it was an XS version.
Yep.
So I was like, well, maybe it's just kind of takes it up a notch, and it does, absolutely.
Okay.
In all aspects, even down to the way that, you know, it sort of does a really good job of tugging on the heartstrings.
Okay.
You know, it does with its way of storytelling. I mean, I'm totally worn out on Metroidvanias after playing it. I don't need to play one for another 3 years at least.
Okay.
Because it's just a lot of that, and I really enjoy it when I actually just get into it and let myself do it. But it's exhausting. But it's really great. Gameplay's great. It's all great. But it wasn't a 21 game, so it's not Game of the Year.
Can't be.
And then the other one from Game Pass, which I really enjoyed, was What Remains of Edith Finch.
A classic.
I thought I was over the classic walking simulator story game, but this is the best one.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it about everybody's gone to the Rapture. This is the best one.
I played Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. It was good, but it wasn't. I'd prefer Firewatch over it, of that kind of ilk.
Chicken Feed. This one's much better.
All right, okay.
I mean, to me anyway.
I downloaded it after your recommendation and still haven't played it. So
It's
it's only like 2 hours long, though, isn't it? It's not that bad.
if you're really sensitive to poorly performing games, you might switch it off because it's like 30 frames, and even then, it barely runs.
Wow.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter to me because I just really love the way that they designed how you move through it, and it opens up and getting this story and everything.
Cool.
So there you go. I won't mention Game Pass again.
There we go. Oh,
I don't. No, that's not true.
That's not true.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. A random one here, but it's quite interesting. They re-released Super Mario 3D World on Switch last year. Don't count that as 2021 game. However, they did release an expansion for it called Bowser's Fury.
Like a new thing?
Yeah, it's like a brand new thing. It's just using the engine from 3D World.
Okay.
But it's almost like a proof of concept for what Mario could be in the future.
I see.
It was very, very interesting, and it was really cool. It was effectively like a level-based Mario game, like as in your 2D Mario game.
Yeah.
3D World as a game is just 2D Mario in 3D. All that really is just like a start point and reach the flagpole at the end. Get to the end of that world, boss battle in a castle, move on to the next in a 3D environment where you can pan the camera and move up and down and different power-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
Really great game on its own. Fantastic game on its own, really. Really fun. Bowser's Fury takes the sort of... It kind of mixes like Mario 64, where you go into the level and there's like one objective to reach at the end of it. And then if you go and replay that level again, there'll be like another objective, and you can collect like 5 different stars from the level.
Yeah.
This does the same kind of idea, but the entryways to each level are just in this open world. It's really just a big lake that you can like move about on this wee like dinosaur that swims you about and stuff. You can move about freely, but you can tackle it. You know, obviously unlocks the next section, but you can kind of tackle it in any order. And there's little bonus objectives. So it's kind of bare. If that was like a full game, it would be a bare bones full game. They would never release it as that. But as an expansion and almost proof of concept, is actually quite exciting way to think about how you could maybe merge the sort of more open 3D Mario, your Mario Odyssey games, and then your more like level-based Mario games together in one go. And it could be quite an interesting way that they could push it in the future. So that was an interesting.
I do often wonder what else they can come up with for Mario. They always seem to find a way.
They do seem to find a way.
That's Nintendo, but it's like it kind of boggles the mind to try and think, well, whatever will they think of next?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
No. It wasn't a big year for Switch for me. Obviously, I mentioned Metroid Dread. There wasn't really anything else. Almost bought a Switch OLED, though. Just because I was looking at my Switch screen and playing a game on it and went,
yeah, you're used to that OLED life now.
Gross. But I realised I've technically kind of got half of a Switch OLED by just docking it and putting it on my TV.
Yeah.
There you go. So, but anyway.
Just wait for the real Switch 2.
That was it, exactly. Because that will have I'd imagine, or have a SKU that has an OLED screen. But I'd imagine that will have an OLED screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my Switch one. Is there any other?
Well,
are you sort of nearing the end of your?
Yeah, kind of. Before I talk about my 2 main ones that are battling it out for Game of the Year, which I never made a decision, so we'll get to that.
Oh, interesting.
Just going to talk about how I feel,
So have you got another game before you get into
I'm just going to quickly talk about 2 more.
I'll do the same after that, and then we can do the last 2.
More or less sort of AAA things that were released. Now, again, one of these was 2019, I think. But the definitive PS5 edition came out early 21. I'm sure it did. And because I tried playing the original version, PS4 version, I think it was on Plus as well. Because I think we both tried it.
PS Now. I know what you're going to talk about.
Right,
It was on PS
yes.
Now. We took that free trial.
And the performance
Was rough.
didn't make it easy. So when the PS5 version came out and it cleaned it right up, and I was like, okay, yeah, here we go. Control.
Control.
Oh, man.
I really enjoyed Control.
I
I just
love
didn't include it
Control.
on my list because I kind of had it's just the PS5 remaster version, but I'm happy that you did put it on there because so I did play it as well. I played it up until about halfway through the game, and I've said on the podcast before that I only stopped just because I was the story was absolutely nonsensical. Sorry, it just was. But the gameplay was great fun. But I was like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed what I've played. I'm just kind of it was just starting to feel a little bit more like a chore to play. I didn't feel like I had much of like an end goal with it. So because I didn't really know what was going on in the story. So not that stopped me in games that are a bit purposely confusing as well in the past, but I just know it doesn't really get there anyway at the end. Like it doesn't have like a big like where all the pieces just go like all together and you go aha and this all makes sense.
Yeah, no,
because so much of it's in text form. But anyway,
Yes,
I'll let you
yeah.
talk about it more. But I did play it. I did enjoy it. Thought it was great. It ran amazing on the PS5. It was really good.
Totally. I mean, it takes a lot these days for me to get sort of addicted to a combat game, like
Combat loop or
combat loop. Yeah. There's just something so enthralling about. I don't know. Even it sounds silly, but even just the way that some of the kind of the noise comes out of the controller, along with how they just make it feel. We're going to use that V word, visceral. No, kinetic is better for this. Visceral is a bit more like the Dead Space, obviously. Visceral
games making it.
Yeah, kinetic is definitely the best word. And I don't know, it's just really, really cool. Everything. I love the style of it. And yeah, I didn't fully grasp everything that was going on either, but I quite enjoy when games really try and step out and be cerebral. And
I think my limit for that has been like your BioShock Infinite and stuff like that. But it kind of clicks at the end with that game a little bit more.
well, yeah, it's got quite a definitive ties things up.
Yeah, in quite a good way. I think that's kind of what I was expecting to happen, and then I found out that it didn't. So it kind of soured my experience a little bit with the story.
No, it's bittersweet for me because actually I would love to have got all in amongst the story and really got everything that they were trying to say, but because I'm absolutely, completely and utterly not reading all that text, it's just not going to happen. I don't have time for that sort of thing. It's frustrating that that's a big part of it. So because of that, I wasn't able to fill in a lot of the gaps, but a lot of the kind of concepts and themes and stuff that it presents is just very cool. And I like when games kind of make you keep you on your toes and make you think, and there's some just incredible level design I just really like that core feel of it. It's like I say, it's a game has to do something really, don't know, different and special for the combat. I don't know, combat.
Okay, you not be long getting combat.
You're not be long in combat, but that was one that did it for me, and I like it a lot. So I'm quite a Remedy fan. I'll be very much looking forward to Alan Wake 2.
Yes, that definitely seems up your alley.
And then the other one that I'll mention, and I don't think I need to talk too much about this because I think it's this will be one of the much more known quantities. And I really enjoyed it. Not as much as 7, not as much as 2. Resident Evil 8. It was great, but it was a Resident Evil game. It wasn't horrific enough for me.
Kind of came and went, didn't it?
Yeah, it's quite short. I think it was 8 to 10
But
hours.
even just from like the conversation, I feel like it's that
no,
happened.
I got really into it, and
Yeah.
it kind of I don't know. It's just it really is just that was definitely Resident Evil. But what made 7 so special is because it was just so scary.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. They really went in on the horror element of that, and I really loved that about it. And I was really hoping they would continue that. But they even came out and said, "Oh yeah, we toned it down because actually people were telling us it was too scary." Great. Thanks, whoever said that. You ruined... No, you didn't ruin it. It was still a great game. Because,
Might have been me. They might have pulled me. I don't know. I never.
Well, that would be even more of a crime because you never played it.
Exactly. So
So, yeah, not quite my game of the year, but, it's like an 8 out of 10. So
cool.
whatever.
Nice one. I don't have anything to say about that, except from I don't understand why everyone was so attracted to the big vampire lady.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
Yeah,
Never got that.
It's not my thing. Anywho, I've got a couple here. I can kind of put together, the Vanguard integration with Warzone came out this year, just at the end of the year with the new map. I'm still enjoying myself with it. I don't have a definitive answer as to is this going to be like the way forward for Warzone with this map, but I still enjoy it.
That makes me think you're not sure then. Caldera.
Well, I'm not. No, I've just because I've not had the same amount of playtime on it. I can't judge it based on that because I knew every single nook and cranny of Verdansk.
Yeah.
But I don't know all the. There's moments where my lack of map knowledge in a certain area has been to my detriment. So I can't. That's the only reason I'm not sure. It's purely because I don't know yet. It's not that I'm not enjoying when I'm playing it. It's just more like I need only when I get to the same level of knowledge on this map, and it's getting there, than I did on Verdansk, will I truly be able to say which one was better. I think there's always going to be a part of me that's just going to say Verdansk is better because it was like such a seminal
Seminal.
thing. You know what I mean?
It's always, it's always hard to best the original when that is original and best.
Well, that's exactly. So, but that's not to say that I'm not enjoying my time here. I, played a couple of games last night and got a 1v1 clutch win at the end, and my hands were shaking just as much as
so
it would have. I think I'm on like 9 wins on the map or something now. So it's good. It's
9
good.
more than me.
And then Vanguard came out. I've actually had fun with the multiplayer with it. I've not played much of it of late, but for the couple of weeks while we were waiting for the Warzone integration, I played a good sort of 30 hours or so of it.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. It was good fun. And I'm still I still jump back into it. If I'm just like wanting to play, but I've been doing that. I've been jumping into Riders Republic for that kind of half hour, 45 minutes more than Vanguard just now. But that's what it is. And then the last game before we talk about the final two, and really,
So wait, you have 2 as well that are battling it out? Is that what you're saying?
no, I've got a definitive
You've got a
second
definitive
place
one.
in
Right.
second place in one. But was Deathloop. I played Deathloop this year.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to put it on like disappointing games. I didn't finish Deathloop. And the reason I didn't finish Deathloop was because of the looping nature of it, which is really quite
Yes.
ironic because that's
Much to your chagrin.
But that's the game that made up in my mind that that's just not for me. It's a fantastic game. It feels really, really good. It's so stylish, looks great, sounds great, voice acting's great. It ticks all the boxes bar the replay nature of it. But I didn't think that would bother me as much as it did. So I just know that it's not for me, and that's fine. I played it up until I kind of saw everything. I took out all of the different visionaries.
Yeah.
And then you had to start doing them again.
Great.
And I was like, I've done this already. I'm kind of finished now, like in my mind, but I wasn't, obviously, because you have to like do it multiple times. So
Did you hear that, Metal Gear Solid 5? Did you hear that?
Yeah, but so I was. I didn't want to put it in disappointing because it's a really, really good game, but it's just not my thing. There's like all the elements of it are my thing except from the looping nature. And just, there was some like visionary. It's not a hard game necessarily, but there was some visionary missions that really went awry, and like I was trying to be stealthy and I got caught. So I had to like battle all the rest of it out, and
Always
pure stressful and.
a dagger through the heart.
You know, exactly. So the thought of having to do those same set pieces again and have the same thing happen was really frustrating. So I've put it away. I'm not going to play it anymore. That's me. I'm kind of done with it. I enjoyed every individual element. All the time, all the visionary like set pieces were amazing. And that's me. I played it almost as a linear game, and I'm done, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like that's fine.
Yeah, no, totally. You know,
Not a 10 out of 10.
you got something out of it, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I will. I'm definitely going to play it.
Yes,
when it goes on Game Pass.
I think you'd enjoy it more than I did.
Quite possibly. Again, it's just, you know, because obviously it's a combat focused game, and you know. It takes me a while to get...
Very stylish, though.
Yeah. No, I think there's going to be enough other elements other than the combat that will have me intrigued when I play it on Game Pass, which it will definitely be on.
But again, much like Resident Evil, conversation kind of came and went with it. Oh, it's a 10 out of 10. This is... Oh, my God. Okay, bye.
Yeah,
bye,
that's... But then, you know, that's kind of
leads me to believe that's a little bit sus. What was sus?
Sus. But this is the world we live in now. This is what the social media age has done. It's like gassing things up to the heavens, and then
forgetting about
a month later realizing we might have hyped that a bit too much.
Yeah,
because actually we weren't being analytical enough. Oops,
soz. There you go.
Well, what can you do? It's not my problem.
I'm
not one of them. So.
I've spoken a lot about my number 2 game of the year. I even said what it was earlier in the episode. So Riders Republic is number 2 for me, which is hilarious.
I did not expect that, I have to say.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
I didn't either. But it's such a Sam game, like it is for sure. Like it's you know the race the racing, but then also like so I like the downhill racing stuff, and I like my kart racers. I like my arcade racers. So it has that element of it, but it's also got that trick element from like skate and stuff that you can do in, you know, slope style and free ride stuff and the downhill biking and stuff. It's actually got me quite interested in like trail mountain biking as well. My dad does it, so we're going to go out on a nice like easy kind of day of like single track mountain biking and stuff. Going to rent a bike and try it out. So it's genuinely got me interested in the sport. To try, you know, I'm not going to go snowboarding or wingsuit.
I don't
free
go snowboarding.
diving. No,
it's not worth it.
So I'm not going to be doing that. But the cycling side of it, I'm actually quite interested in for sure. So I don't want to. I've said a lot about Riders Republic this episode, so I'm going to just go with that there.
That's good.
And I'm going to save my number 1 for the end. But I'm interested to see what you put as your number 2, because this might line up as our number 1s.
I get okay. Well,
it depends what you say next, though. I don't know.
It definitely does. Just to be awkward, I'm going to make my number 2 exactly what you're going to say. No, because that would be mean.
No, you can do it. It's fine. If it's not your game of the year, it's not your game of the year.
I can't decide.
Oh.
Because they're so different. They were both 10s for me for such vastly different reasons.
Right, how about you just talk about your other one, and then we'll just spend the last bit talking about
it seems
our joint
appropriate.
one. Yes,
seems appropriate. So my number 2/1 is Forgotten City.
Blank expression on my face.
You can't even remember what it is?
No.
That's hilarious. It is the game that came out based on the Skyrim mod.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. Okay.
And you know what it is? It's a looping game.
We're going to play it.
Yeah. No, it is...
I remember that now, yeah.
So it came out on Game Pass, not day 1, but fairly quickly. It was like... I don't even know if it was even 6 months after it came out. It was kind of odd. I was unexpected. I was like, oh, right, it's coming to Game Pass now. Great, I don't need to buy it.
Yeah.
Great. I was always wanting to play it. When I saw it, I was like, that's really interesting. It takes, a side of Skyrim and turns it into something that's... Because this is like not a combat-focused game at all. Which is like, okay, well, so you're off to a good start. It is just so... philosophically and historically rich. it's like you could get even a bit of a history lesson in there. I mean, it's primarily. I mean, I kind of almost don't want to spoil it in case anyone wants to play it. It's primarily based in as a Roman thing, but as you dig deeper and oh my god, I don't even know where to start. Like, 'cause it's kind of just the way it all unfolds.
It is not what it seems.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough. There you go.
And you really get so invested in finding out each character's stories and hearing their backstory and how they got into this situation, and it just paints such a great picture. At first, I was cautious because I was like, "Oh no, this is a lot of dialogue." Because it's just the dialogue, essentially, like what you would do in Skyrim. I was like, I don't know if I can sit through all of this. But actually, when you realise, the performances are pretty good enough,
Yeah.
and the intrigue just keeps building. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in.
Cool.
Totally. Because it's the perfect balance of challenge as well. I did end up going to a guide, right? Like, after I'd finished it my way, quote unquote, because I was just so interested in seeing everything.
Other options.
Which is so rare for me these days. I was like, I need to see it all.
Yeah.
Because I think the big thing for me a lot in it was the philosophical side. I found that so engaging. Can't even talk. Jesus. And yeah, I don't know. It just works.
It just works.
Zooming around and kind of introducing gameplay elements that you maybe don't expect. And it's kind of puzzly, obviously, as well. Just trying to figure out what's going on. It's so intriguing. And the Roman setting is really cool. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect it.
That's a left field one.
Yeah, I didn't expect to love it so much, but I really did.
Good.
It's been a while since I actually have thought about it. I kind of wish that I'd even sat down and done a bit of a refresher for myself, just so I could gush a bit better. But I've done my best.
Well, let's talk about our game of the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, and you're going, no, that wasn't what I was talking about. Oh wait, no.
Well, that would be absolutely hilarious.
It would be, because we've not mentioned it, but it was It Takes Two.
But we did mention it because you mentioned you played it with Richard earlier.
Okay, yes, I mentioned it. Okay, yes, but
this is why I was ever so slightly confused there.
Briefly. Sorry. Yes, of course. But It Takes Two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a game. That was a good game. Well done, EA. No, I'm just kidding. So,
well, it was Joseph Fares.
Yeah. Joseph Fares at no. What's the name of the team?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
It's really all about him, isn't it?
It is. Anyway, seems like an obvious choice. It won Game of the Year at Jeff Keighley's VGAs.
Oh, rightly so.
Rightly so, I know, it was definitely. And it was nice to see a game like that getting that kind of recognition. We played it, we got it near enough day one. It was pretty much on release. I think it was.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was during the lockdown. We played it together. You were able to get the friends pass for it. I bought it anyway because I was going to play it with other folk as well.
Which you've gone and done.
So. Which, subsequently and other sort of playthroughs and stuff.
I don't feel so bad about being a leech now.
No, don't. That's fine. That was, it's probably a game, I don't know. I don't think it would make it to the top of my list on any other year with your God of Wars, your Last of Us, your all this and that. Just for my taste. However, I could be wrong though, because it was very, very unique, and I think that's what would make it stand out. In any year, it could come out, and it would stand out as a video game. For those who don't know, it's exclusively co-op. Very creative. I mean, level to level, there's a brand new mechanic getting introduced every level, and it's never reused throughout the game. So that there's always something new to look forward to in it. You're sort of waiting to find out what the next bit's going to be. Presentation wise, it's gorgeous. You're these sort of shrunk down dolls, and it's kind of got that sort of what's the tabletop car racing game, Trackmania.
Right.
So it's kind of got that feel of like the Hot Wheels game that just came out, where it's like you're a little toy in this big, it's like a normal room, but the scale of everything is so huge.
Which looks really nice, by the way, that Hot Wheels game.
It does, doesn't it?
Like, had a little bit of a twinge when I saw it. I was like, oh, I kind of want to play that, but I don't want to.
I don't really know why that happened, because it's like an arcade racer, but anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just wasn't the right time when it came out, I suppose. Honourable mention, it is. But it's got this, compelling, simple story. I'm glad it actually didn't overdo it on the story side of things. It just really let the gameplay talk. But but there was just some specific moments where
it was always fun.
It was always there was never a moment where we were like frustrated. If it were, we were maybe like, oh, how do you do this puzzle, or how do you do, a bit head scratching, but not hard.
I mean, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was a kid's game.
Yes,
but no, I think it struck a perfect balance of appealing to all ages, because it's just so endearing to go around it with a friend and kind of just really enjoy all the different bits for what they are, and because it's never challenging, it's like always easy, but that's good, that's refreshing,
Yeah, I mean, we in Matt, just having played maybe the first 3 chapters, so the first half of the game again, just in the last couple of weeks, you go from fighting, like if this was the synopsis of like the first half of any other game, you'd be like, what on earth is going on? You go from fighting a Hoover in a shed to helping squirrels defeat bees in a tree with a robotic queen bee ran by a bumblebee.
Yeah.
You escape from the tree in a plane made out of your adult self's underwear to then play in your like daughter's toy collection and do like anti-gravity space stuff with her space toys. And you're in this like what? That's the first like half of the game. And then it goes from there, and you're like in a clock, and you're, like there's that whole clock section. You're in a record player, like with like instruments and up in the loft and stuff. It's like, it's so versatile. And you're in a snow globe at one point, so you've got this snowy like winter wonderland section where you're skiing about and stuff. It's just
overflowing with creativity.
It's just one of the most creative.
It can be quite funny as well at times.
Yep.
It really is it's like a Pixar film come to life, but not so kid.
It's
oriented. Really,
it's the first game other than the Astro games that have been like, that's given Nintendo a run for its money in terms of creativity.
Yeah, totally.
Astro kind of had that more just with the fact that it was in VR when I played that the first time, so that had that creative level, and then on the PS5 it had that like ode to the PlayStation creativity that let that stand out. But I'd love to see a full Astro game. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be good,
just knowing how good that team is, and I think that will happen. Just the fact that they've renamed that team, like, the team Asobi, and they've folded it all into that team from Japan Studios.
Yeah.
But the anyway, this is the first game, like, especially, I mean, for it to come out of EA as well, but the first game that really has given that kind of Nintendo level, that Mario Odyssey level creativity that I hold so high in my sort of standings. It's just it was a perfect game. There was not a moment wasted.
No,
perfect length,
perfect co-op game.
Perfect. I mean, if you're looking for something, and it's the same couch as it is online. It's the same split screen, because even online it's a split screen experience. But that's good. It was a little bit jarring at first, but it makes the most sense because it means that you can see the other person's perspective as you would if you were sitting on the couch.
Yeah, no,
which helps you figure out puzzles and things.
It does a perfect job of that really kind of quirky ways of having to work together.
Yeah.
And it makes you go, okay, this is what we need to do. We got to work together, And it's good because, this is exactly the way to do it rather than a way out.
Yes.
I admire him, Joseph Fares, trying that.
Yep.
Because, in another world that might have been sensational and worked and been really cool and a gritty thing of that nature to play. But but it ultimately ended up being pretty. Did you play it? No,
Never ended up playing it.
You didn't miss much.
No, I
Because-
remember you saying.
Yeah, it was just pretty boring,
Yeah.
really, not because that was meant to be all based on the story and stuff. And
Yeah.
again, I'm like, well, you know, if a lot of this acting's not very good, then you're just gonna laugh at it.
Yep.
But no, they really turned it around with this one. It was a perfect setting and vehicle for that type of thing.
Yeah. If you haven't played it, play it. If you know me and you want to play it, I'll play it with you again. It's a perfect game. I'll play it with you again. I don't care. It's really good. I really want to finish it off with Richard. I think he'll like where it goes from here. But I mean, there's just moments like, just to kind of gush on it a bit. Like, obviously, it's all split screen, and there's certain moments in each level where the split screen goes away and you kind of get presented to the full picture. And there's just some moments where it was just both of us just like in silence, and then finishing it going like, wow, like journey level awe in some scenes, which I was not expecting as well. That kind of just like presentation, just so beautiful. Yeah, it's a great game.
It's just effortless to play.
Yep.
And doesn't try to be anything other than what it is, which is just a really nice thing.
It's
Nice. It's just nice.
It was a perfect time it came out as well. Like we were it was a good, I think, were we locked down at that point? We were able to play it quite concisely.
Yeah, no,
didn't take us too long. So whatever it was, we were available enough to play it together
towards the end of that second lockdown. Yeah.
So it came at a really good time, and it's been the game that, like, when I was making this list, I had to go through and like write down. I had to go check what I'd played this year.
Yeah.
But I didn't for that, and that was before Richard and I even started playing it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just been on my mind all year. It's a special one for sure. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for that, would have made 2021 a very disappointing year for new releases. But that's definitely what made this one stand out. Because like I said, I was saying it, might not have been at the top of like another year, but the more I'm thinking about it, it might have, purely because of how it stood out. If this came out this year, 2022, in the same year as God of War Ragnarok, there's still a chance, because obviously God of War Ragnarok is going to be quite, more of the same from God of War 2018. Not that that's in no way, shape or form a bad thing, of course. There's a chance that could have snuck in ahead of it. I've not played it yet, so I don't know. I could be blown away by Ragnarok and hope to be. Horizon Forbidden West, there's a chance that
it's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But game of the year. It's quite nice that like we shared our playthrough of that, and it's sort of at the top.
Fitting.
We have a very different list, but it does culminate. Obviously, I know you had a little bit of sort of toss and turn between the two of them, but I think it was right to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's nice that it was so sort of similarly appreciated from both of us.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that a game like that has happened.
Yes.
And it definitely helped. I think it subconsciously planted the seed before the whole Game Pass thing of being like, there's definitely other games out there to be enjoyed that aren't AAA cinematics.
Well, and also, then...
I mean, it is very high production value,
of course.
But in terms of what it's trying to do as a game, it's very simple.
Yes,
which
but also
to me,
it got us playing the likes of Gears of War together. I mean, like we kept that sort of co-op feel. Hopefully it reminded the people, but also game devs, that co-op is not dead and shouldn't be ignored.
Yeah.
Cooperative gaming is and will be around forever and a day. And I'm very excited to see what Joseph Fares does next.
Indeed.
Could be interesting.
You actually just reminded me, I've had like another co-op experience that I've forgotten about. And it's not, I guess you could maybe argue that the thing that I did with The Witness was, but another one that me and Alex did was Unravel 2.
Of course.
Which, is kind of similar. It's almost like It Takes Two light.
Yes, it was an EA game as well.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah. You also played some Red Dead Online this year, didn't you? Or was that last year?
I can't remember.
It was what it was.
It was.
But we've been more. What it's to say is we've been more encouraged to play and look out for some more cooperative games.
Co-op and multiplayer, yeah, it was so out the window for me for
Yeah.
years, and it just came back with silver linings in COVID, you know.
Yeah, there's not many. Okay, well, I think that's we're running at a good time here. That's an hour and 45 minutes, so we'll stop that because that's a bit of a longer episode. But it does wrap up quite nicely the year
Yeah.
we've had. It's been a fun year to be playing games. As much as it's not been the best year for games, it's been fun to be playing games and having this podcast. We've really enjoyed having this as an outlet to kind of condense our thoughts and things like that. So we do thank you for listening. We're going to be kicking off the first looking forward episode of the year next with our anticipated games of 2022. So it's going to be a similar kind of vibe.
Maybe try and predict some things.
Yes, a little bit of predictions for how the year's going to go. Maybe some hardware, maybe some new softwares and things like that. So we'll kind of jump into that in 2 weeks' time. And it will be in 2 weeks' time because we're both COVID-free. We're not going to be catching that anytime soon.
Yeah, back on schedule.
Going to kiss everyone. Right. Thank you very much for listening. Very much appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of your day or whatever you're up to. Whatever. It's all good. Catch you later. Goodbye.
Bye.